Hello and welcome to White Glove Reviews. In this video, what I want to do is share with you the rescaling of a 58mm Victorinox Swiss Army knife. And this particular knife is a Signature 1. And what makes it a Signature 1 is it has the little pull-out pin instead of the pin that you extend from the... oh, hold on. Instead of the pin that works like this one, where it slides out from the scale. It has a small, just has a small removable pin. And what I figured I'd do is I'd pop off the scales, give it a nice cleaning, and replace it with yellow. So, oh, if you're looking for these replacement scales, you can usually find them pretty easily on eBay. So they're not too hard to find, and they're not very expensive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove and discard the toothpick, because ew. And then we'll keep the pin, because that's kind of an oddity, and it's what makes the Signature 1 a Signature 1. So we'll keep the pin. We'll set this aside for later. And then what we got to do is we got to pop off these scales. And I don't know if you can really see it from the camera, but these scales have been scuffed and scraped and had a relatively tough life. They haven't been just abused like on some of my knives, but this one came pre-worn. So what you want to do, if you want to pop off the scales, usually the easiest thing to do is take a tool like a Swiss Army knife. And this, if you're interested, it's the Victorinox watch tool. It has a, I can't pronounce the German name, but you can find them on eBay for like 15 or 20 bucks. They pop up pretty regularly. And the watch tool is not sharp, which is kind of critical for this. And what you want to do is you want to slide the watch tool under the scale and pop it off. And removing scales off Swiss Army knives is a one-way trip, because what happens is they kind of snap on. Ew. Hopefully this isn't like super icky dirty underneath. If it is, it's going to make me kind of sad, but at least you know about it. So you just slide it up under there, and then you lift up, and it pops off. And as you can see, this is what you get when you take it off. And what it is there's 4 little studs here, or 4 little pins, and the pins, well, these things snap on. And so what I'm going to do is I will pop off these 2 scales, and again, you just slide it. Usually it's easiest to go in through the scale tool hole. Just slide it up in there and lift up. And I don't know if you can hear that pop or not, but there's like a little kind of pop when it comes loose. Let me see if you can hear it. Well, that should have been pretty obvious. So you just pop it off, and this is the descaled version of it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to give it a good cleaning with some warm soapy water, maybe an old beaten up toothbrush, get it all dried out and whatnot, and then we'll pick back up when it's time to rescale. Okay, after a little bit of video magic, I have thoroughly cleaned the knife after I descaled it, and I just cleaned it with some warm water and soap. And then what I did after that was I cleaned it, rinsed it, well, I scrubbed it with a toothbrush, then I rinsed it with warm, just water, and then I thoroughly dried it and wiped it out with paper towel, and then I used compressed air to blow everything out and make sure it was thoroughly dry, so we have a good starting point. Now the next step, all you gotta do is, as you can see, there's 4 little holes right here. And what you want to do is these correspond to the little studs right here on the knife. And all you do is you basically put the scale on and you line things up, and then it snaps down. And that's pretty much it. And then repeat the same process on the other side. making sure you line up the scale tools so you don't have something that makes you crazy, like so. And you give it a good squeezing again. Alright, this is not exactly lining up perfectly. Like, as you can see right here, can you see this? I guess you can see, maybe. You can see that there's a little gap there between the scales and the knife. What you gotta do is you gotta apply a bit more pressure than I think I can do with my hands. So what I'm gonna need to do is I'm gonna grab a pair of soft tip pliers. I grabbed my pliers, and these are soft end pliers, so we can squish down the scales and make sure they get seated properly. So again, just squeeze and then squeeze. Make sure there's no spaces in there. Make sure it's seated all nice and cleanly, like so. And one thing that I didn't think about, but which has occurred to me now, is I was going to put the little mini pin from the Signature 1 back, but they're the wrong shape. It doesn't fit. Ooh, I just noticed something. Did y'all notice that? I think I squished the scale a little bit. You see that right there? Maybe you can't see that. I squished the scale a little bit. Well, luckily, I have some emergency tweezers and toothpicks on hand. So let's see. Yeah, I did. I squished it a little bit. Wow. That's something that actually didn't happen with the 91mm ones. So, anyway, this is how you change the scales. Although I think I need to make sure next time I'm a little bit more gentle with this part of the scale. I guess it's an issue where it's thinner. Yeah, it's thinner than the normal ones. So, you gotta be careful with that. Now, one thing you can do is, if, for example, you don't want the toothpick or you don't want the tweezers, you can use a Firefly Firestarter. And the deal with these, and I'll include a link in the description if you want to check them out, is they're just little fire starters, and they work as scale tools. Although, yeah, there we go. A little slide in there. It works as scale tools. So you can have tweezers and a fire starter for your Swiss Army Knife Classic if you want. Or I guess a Classic SD. I think it's an SD, right? Yeah, it's an SD. So we couldn't use the pin because the scales were the wrong shape, the opening's the wrong shape. But we can use the fire starter or the toothpick. That's kind of interesting. So, just a word of warning. Be very careful in this area. The area of the scale tool openings when you're squishing things. And I guess last thing we gotta do is grab a little crab. And ta-da! Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, or if you have any questions or suggestions, you can let me know in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And I hope y'all have an excellent day.